Welcome back to Technology Review. I'm your host, Mac Jackson Jr. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Technology Review TV. Remember to give us a thumbs up. You can also find us on Twitter, twitter.com/Mac Jackson Jr. and MacJacksonJr.com. In this segment, we call it the Business Spotlight. Business Spotlight, we talk about why should companies be in compliance? What is compliance for our cybersecurity for businesses? Well, what compliance is for businesses is that companies should take a reasonable steps towards protecting their customers and employees' personal identifiable information. So what are reasonable steps? Well, it consists of how you have your policies designed and created within your organization. For example, do you have a cybersecurity policy of if there was a breach, an incident? What would you do if there was a breach in your organization? Does your IT team fix it? How long does it take you to notify your customers if there was a breach in your organization? Do you contact the police, federal agencies? Which ones do you contact? Is there a police report you fill out? Is there one on the federal level as well? Or how about one on the international level? All of these are questions and concerns that you should have documented and in a form not on your computer as well, folks. I've seen a lot of situations where companies have had all of their policies, procedures documented. They don't print them out because they want to save paper. And then when there's a breach in an organization or their hard drives are seized or locked up and they can't have access to them, all those documents are also unprotected as well. So these are documents that need to be printed. Part of the employee handbook, if you would, is additional addendums, additional documents you should have in your organization. And your employees should be trained at least twice a year. Reason why twice a year, folks, because thieves are working every day on how to breach your network and your system. And it's your responsibility as a business owner to make sure that your employees are trained and have the information that your employees need to mitigate this type of breach. In other words, if a breach does happen, it's when it happens, not if, the data that would be stolen from the cyber thieves or by cyber thieves from your organization cannot be accessible. We want to make sure that data is encrypted and secured. So we go over lots of different ways of how to do that, encrypt that data as well, by being a part of our team here at MJ Computer Concepts. It's things that my company can do for you. But we'll get into that as well. But one of the questions I would like to ask companies, and that is, what is the biggest cybersecurity threat to businesses? The biggest cybersecurity threat. And that is when businesses are not mapping their cybersecurity threats to their bottom line. That's right, folks. They're not mapping to the bottom line. They're trying to measure, do I do something now or do I wait to do something later? If we do something later, can we get back to normal? Or can I subcontract a third party to come in and restore from our backups and we're all running again? That's fine for us ransomware, but what about a data breach where data has been copied and stolen from your organization? How do you talk to your customers? What do you say to them? Do you mention that there's a breach, or do you not say anything because of business reputation? And then a customer finds out about it and then gets together with other clients, and then you have a class action lawsuit because their data was stolen from your organization. Those are things that we want to avoid. So when you measure the scale, these are three things that you should consider when it comes to a data breach. You're measuring your data breach against business losses, reputational damage, and legal entanglements because of it. Those are the three major areas of a cyber breach to your organization. So in summary, in this particular section, just think about this. Cybersecurity is not just an IT issue. It affects the company's bottom line because fines and penalties can be assessed to a business that does not have the forms, does not have policies, procedures, employees that are not trained. If you go to my website, you'll see a study that talks about 93% of people that were surveyed were asked, have they had any cybersecurity training? No, not at all. Or you find the companies that are now overblowing it, folks. Here's an example. When companies are doing the email test where they're sending their employees emails and seeing who will click on an email they shouldn't click on, they play little tests with their employees, and they'll send them an email. It looks like it's legitimate, and then when they click on it, they get a message that says, "Oh, this could have been a spam email. You could have been captured by an attacker there. We're going to report you to your manager." How does that affect your company's overall morale in the organization and being productive, knowing that if they make a mistake and click on an email, that they could possibly be written up or lose their job. That is terrorism, folks, and that's exactly what cyber terrorists are looking to do. You just terrorize organizations by bringing them to feel that they can't even do their jobs anymore. Just think about your organization right now. You are told that you have to change your password every 90 days. And if you don't change every 90 days, it'll be changed for you, or you could be written up for it. Think about this. It was never like this before. And that's because companies are not measuring this threat seriously. They're just fixing it with a quick Band-Aid. That Band-Aid is we're just going to rush in and do whatever we can to protect our company's information. And what we're saying, cybersecurity researchers are saying that employees are the first line of defense. They are the soldiers, the first line of fighters against cyber terrorism. And by having a staff of employees that are trained to understand how to combat this, to understand what the cyber thieves are looking for and what they do in emails on a daily basis, and the types of suspicious activity reports that a cyber attacker will try to hit you with. These are the things that we meaning all the companies here in the U.S. and around the world need to be aware of. Another example of this, I heard a story on MSNBC done by Rachel Maddow, and it was an interesting story about a email that was sent to Rachel's group looking like it was a document that was a top secret document from our government that would indict some people involved in the Russian hacking situation. But it turns out that that document could possibly be fake. Now, if that document was presented as being truthful and it turns out to be fake, of course it made the news agency look bad. That's the same type of attacks that are happening to small companies, folks. So I gave you an example of news organizations being hit with so-called fake news, but there are also small businesses and companies like yours being hit with emails that look like they're real, but they're not. They're fake also. And the question is, how can you do your job when you're being exposed to all these fake emails? I have a poll out on this as well. If you go to my Facebook page at facebook.com/technologyreviewtv and take a look at my poll I have on this, I asked that question. How can you, give me your comments on how can you do your job knowing that there are fake emails being sent out there? How difficult is it for you to do your job knowing this? Now again, the solution, yes, we have a solution for this. And again, a solution is training where we're recommending at least twice a year where you'd go through a program to show employees this is the current status, how cyber criminals are trying to get your information. This is what they're doing. They're trying to get to you by your smartphone. They're trying to get to you by emails and other means. And what you can do to protect yourself, your organization. In other words, protect your workspace. So there's lots of things that we can do to combat this, but we have to be very, very careful, and we have to let companies know that they need to participate in these type of exercises. So if your company is looking to participate in these exercises, definitely get a hold of my organization. Several different ways you can do this. One of the simple ways you can do is you could text. That's right. You have a smartphone out there, folks? Go ahead and text my name, Mac, M-A-C-K. Text the word Mac to 444-999. That's 444-999. And we will send you information on cybersecurity awareness education. Let me repeat that again, folks. The mission statement here is cybersecurity awareness. Cybersecurity awareness. That's what your company needs. That's what all your employees need. Once we're aware, we're on top of what's going on, it makes it harder for thieves to try to get our data. So being aware and being in front of this is how we can mitigate it, slow it down, and maybe one day stop it completely because they'll just give up because we are on top of what they're doing. So don't be a victim, folks. Definitely contact my company, MJ Computer Concepts. Again, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/technologyreviewtv. I have lots of information there. You can go to my website, Mac Jackson Jr., look at some of my videos, some of my blog postings that I've done as well, and find information. And buy my book also, and hire me to come in and talk to your company, talk to your people, folks, about what's going on in cybersecurity and how your company can be vulnerable and things you can do to protect yourself. If you like that, you'll also like our next segment, which will talk about new tech gadgets. We'll be right back after these important messages. Thank you.